We have part of our Final Girl panel right now, but we're just going to go ahead and start and while we wait. And so right now, we want to welcome to the stage Miss Indy Steele. No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so first things first, I want to ask you two ladies, what does it take to make a good final girl? Since this is the final girl panel, right? Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Well, I would say just speed. A lot of speed, legal speed. Okay. That's good work. Wine. Always wine. I don't know. Smarts when it comes to Amy. When it comes to Ginny. Not so much with a spool of, rope and throwing things at people. You worked with what you had. I did. Thank you for that. And she didn't have anything, so. She had to use her brain. Me not so much. I had to run faster. Ginny used her brain. Alice just ran, screamed. I don't know. Good luck, I guess. Yeah. A lot of luck. Maybe some determination. Determination helps. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That would be a good question for you guys too.
Yeah. What makes a good final girl? But any final girl is a good final girl because they're final. Yeah, that's something. That means, I don't know.
I was at dinner.
And she is. Hi. Give it up, guys. Let's start again.
Hot vegan dinner and wine. Good.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking about final girls and wine. What makes a good final girl? Final girl, Art.
Yeah.
Hey.
I was just thinking I wanted to come visit you and, tour around your beautiful place and have wine.
You should. Amy came up.
I really do want to do that.
Amy came to visit and never left.
Oh. Oh no.
So, Lana, what do you think makes a good final girl?
Set of lungs.
Right. That's a good answer.
A great imagination, I think.
Yeah.
True love of horror.
Yeah.
Right?
So tell me, were you guys fans of the horror genre before you got involved in it?
I was.
You were?
Yes, I'm into it.
Yeah.
What was your favorite horror film before you did this film, right?
I love, have you ever seen Trilogy of Terror?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, right? Karen Black.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this really awesome little mind twisting. I love it.
Yeah,
So that was it. What about you?
No, I was not a fan because I saw The Exorcist.
Oh,
yeah.
Ditto.
I know.
Yeah, that was what did me in too, Amy, honest to God. Yes, I couldn't watch it, and now I look at it and I laugh. The special effects don't hold up. Like, right? Do they? I'm sorry. Because, I don't know. It doesn't scare me anymore. But quite honestly, I missed all the 70s horror after Exorcist. Never saw Karen.
I'm going to say
I was the first year in college.
77, right? What would you say?
Exorcist? No, I was in my first year in college, so it had to be 74-ish.
I saw it when it was
74.
75? What year?
There you go.
I didn't get to
I saw it at 13. I saw it in the theater.
There you go. So did I.
Oh my God. That's terrifying.
I did too, and my hands were
Like that. I saw Jaws in the theater, and that.
Oh yeah, I saw Jaws too.
But that was just a fish.
No.
that was just a fish. Just a bit.
I can't do the sharks.
It's all Karen.
I got this. Yeah, I got this. You want to ask her? All right, let's shoot Wendy back here.
I do too. And
It's the air. I know.
I saw Jaws. Yeah, I saw Jaws. That was just a bit. Just a bit. I can't do sharks. I got sharks. So, happy birthday to you guys. Happy birthday. Come on. Happy birthday, dear Adrienne. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. You guys, the first final girl, Adrienne. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. I'm gonna stand here for another 5 minutes, see how long you can hold it. Okay, good wishes, good wishes. So.
Ready? 1, 2,
Yeah.
Adrienne. 3.
Happy birthday to you guys.
Happy birthday.
Come on.
Happy
birthday, dear Adrienne. Thank you. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. That's you guys. The first final girl, Adrienne. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Kim. I'm gonna stand here for another 5 minutes, see how long you can hold it. Okay, good wishes, good wishes. That was for grumpy old men to get together for the next sequel.
I got touched by a shark. I thought it was a dolphin. I'd been drinking. It looked like a dolphin, and I wasn't moving. Just with my face.
So,
Ready?
What's happening?
1, 2,
Yeah.
Adrienne. 3.
happy birthday to you guys. Happy birthday. Come on. Happy birthday, dear Adrienne. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. You guys, the first final girl, Adrienne. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Kim. I'm gonna stand here for another 5 minutes, see how long you can hold it. Okay, good wishes, good wishes. That was for grumpy old men to get together for the next sequel. All right. Thank you so much. What a nice surprise, guys. Yeah, that was really sweet. Thank you.
That must be
Much appreciated. Yeah, the first final girl. Responsibility.
Yes, exactly. Set the bar high.
But thank you very much. This is very sweet.
I'm so glad I got to
Share
share
it.
this trip. I was excited to see us because I haven't seen you in literally, I think, a couple of years.
Well, I know it's been since Lexington, Kentucky.
You know that. Chicago. I don't know where I was. Chicago. How do y'all know? Because we had that poster. Because we had that poster that was so cool. You're saying. It's just saying. And all of the proceeds
Amy.
went to domestic
Amy.
violence survivors today.
1, 2, 3, 4. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 on the poster.
What?
No,
Oh, was it me?
I don't think you were
Thank
there.
God.
No, it's the weirdest thing. I have a good memory for silly things. The important things I forget.
You might be right.
Good brains. I'm so glad. I hate like when someone wears something new and you want to go, oh, I remember that. It's so cute. And they go, I just bought it. So this
No,
is the last
Laura,
time.
the last time we saw Laura, Amy, was when we had the campsite all the way in the back.
The whole thing.
That convention center, it was a mile. Remember to walk all the way back to it?
I don't remember where it was, but it was a great
And
setup.
then we did the final ghost shoot, and I remember Laura was doing this.
For sure.
Obviously,
Everything is separate.
Jimmy's brains are now gone.
See, wine doesn't necessarily destroy memory cells.
No. As Moira would say, it's fruit salad. She's my spirit animal, Moira. She's Creek.
Did you guys always want to be actors growing up? What was your acting journey like?
Third grade, I knew for sure. I told everyone. Yes, always.
And what was that process like for you?
I'm an army brat, so there
Well, that must have been difficult, right?
Oh, there's no acting.
Right.
Where are you going to go? So even though I'm short, I started out as a model and worked in Europe and everywhere as a model, even though it's tiny. So that was very unusual at the time. But the goal was always acting. And so that's what I did. Went to LA the first time. I always say I couldn't get arrested. You know, it's bad. Got kicked home a few times and went back again. Yes. Always acting, continuing still. Yes.
Amy?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I found a bunch of like little entries into what I want to be when I grow up, and I sat in actress, and I was in neighborhood theater groups, and I got the 6th grade acting prize, and then I went out for, just kind of forgot about it and started smoking pot and being a bad boy. And then I got picked to go to a modeling agency in New York, and so I did that, and then there was a commercial and theatrical agent within the modeling agency, and so she started pushing me into doing all of the other things, and then I was, I guess, back where I'm supposed to be. Did you work in Japan also? Because a lot of us that did the agent through New York and whatever worked in Japan.
Oh, I wish. Well, I always say I didn't have a whole lot to say about it. My mother threw me into commercials at 6 months old, and she also threw my younger sister and brother in as well, but I was the only one who stuck. And that's the truth, because when I got to school and she pulled me out of the business, by then I had, and when I say I was only doing commercials and modeling at the time, when I went back to like a normal life, which I hadn't known because I was always surrounded on the set by lots of energy and whatever, all of a sudden I'm in a classroom with nuns, you know, and it's like, yeah, I really would like to go back. That's the truth. And she said, well, if you're going to go back in, we're going to do it right. And she set me up with the best acting coach for children at the time. And within a few months, I was booking.
Who was that coach then? Do you remember?
Ellis Rapp. He was very, very well known at the time. And I was with a very strong, like, children's agency. And of course, once I booked, then they're all over you. And
It goes like crazy.
And
Do you still do that? Yes, I have.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Acting
right.
studios,
That's
I
right. And so it wasn't an acting school for
Right.
me. It was a coach,
Right.
and also growing up on Long Island in New York, getting rid of the New York,
Right,
the water, water.
Did you have a heavy, really bad accent?
No, I didn't have a heavy one, but I mean, you can tell I was. As a matter of fact, it always cracks me up in the last scene of the movie. You can hear water. I hear it.
Yes,
Does anyone else hear it?
Yes.
There's a little New York there. And after 2 glasses of wine, it's totally there.
I get southern after.
Yeah, I love doing something. I had a chance on
Final Girl Support Group, which is an audiobook, my first and only audiobook I ever did last year. It came out, and it got great reviews though, it really did, but I got to do it 7 accents. And oh, it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. But that's the story, that's how I got into the biz. And I had a resume by the time I got out of high school because we were on split sessions because of overcrowding back in the day when, you know, baby boomers all went to school at the same time. So I would literally go to school and be before the sun came up, but I'd be out of there by 12:17.
Nobody should be up.
12:17, ding, 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 ding. And I was so excited because my chauffeur, my mother, would be there waiting, and she needed, well, by that point she wasn't driving me to the city, but living on Long Island, I'd take the Long Island train at 9th grade, okay? 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Could you imagine going into, no. But I'd come home with my dad worked in advertising, he was a madman, and there you go. So I rode home in the bar car with seriously.
Because your dad was with you sometimes.
All the time from home. I came home. And so I had a full resume.
Wait, what did you do from like 12:30 till your dad came home?
Oh, no. So I only went in when I had an audition or a gig or, you know, and I would know, we didn't have cell phones then, I'd have to call home or, you know, and say, well, it's time today. And it was so much fun, but back then you didn't have to worry. I guess, because I was walking the streets of New York, I knew.
Well, we didn't have any, you know, we didn't have the social media and everything so much to make us worry so much about it.
Right. And I had a great time, and by the time I graduated, I had a resume. Yeah.
Okay, we have quite an audience here. Do we have any questions out there?
Y'all are being very gracious. Listening to these stories.
If there was a character in any of your respective movies that could have survived along with you, is there one you'd be able to pick out?
Bill! I miss Bill. I had my whole future set. Kids. It would have been so cute.
I got to keep my love interest, Kevin Spiritus, Blair, and then worked with him in Roseblood that we shot with fan film.
Congratulations on that.
So much fun, right?
And that one also, off topic, had another one of your co-stars, right?
Yes,
Carrie.
Terry Heiser. When I started talking with them about Roseblood, and I liked it so much after so much time. I called Terry and then I called Kevin, and we all did a little piece in it.
Aside from Kevin, who else would you like to pick to survive to be a threesome?
Oh, what?
A threesome.
I don't know who I would have picked to survive. Certainly not Melissa. I have never had that question before. Good job. That's a good question. Good job.
Someone's really good at questions.
That wasn't mine. I can't take credit for that.
That's right.
Thank you, though.
Well, there's a Steadicam operator on my set. I would have survived. But in part 3, when I got the script to do part 3, which, you know, everybody knows a shit show happened after that. But it was Stu Charno in the film. So he, in the first part of part 3, he helps me go find Jason on the loose. So he did survive, but there was no love interest.
I would like to think that the Stu Charno character did die of alcohol poisoning. After all, we just don't know about it.
I would have kept my mother alive.
Yeah.
Right? That would have made sense.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That was a pretty graphic.
Yeah. Every time that show happens, Laura, I'm like, that's just rude. It's rude. It's awful. Any other questions? Come on, guys, don't be shy. I know you got some. No? Well, I'll okay, guys.
Yeah, we're in the same group. But, so when it comes to acting in horror versus doing anything dramatic or something like that, what is one of those. What does it take to create that headspace? I mean, when you're running away from Jason, which is an actor, obviously, that you know, what does it take to create that final girl horror headspace? I mean, doing those last scenes, the third act of those movies, what's that process like?
Wine and speed.
Oh, very cool.
Enough said.
Did any of us run? I never ran from him.
I was a big runner.
I didn't run from him.
Alice was a big runner, yeah.
It's just putting it together. It's all shot in so many pieces. So one of my favorite things is dissecting the scripts and making sure that the thoughts are continuous, even though it's shot out of order. It's something I do with my coaching too, is really coach them to be sure they can keep it in order. So, I don't know about the headspace particularly.
I just think that you get a job and you get a script, and whatever it calls for. I mean, I when you asked the question, I was thinking, well, I put myself in 100% into whatever it calls for, whether it be screaming or crying or being a bitch or whatever. But and then you just hope it translates.
Yeah, I hope that, because so much of what we do depends on what everyone else does. Editing, musical score, marketing. I always say that we don't write, direct, cast, produce, market, and if it's successful, the actors get all the credit. But we don't write, direct, produce, market, edit, and if it sucks, makeup and wardrobe, we get all the blame, even if we didn't have to do with that. So it's truly is a team effort, because there's not you're not just doing a monologue by yourself, right? That's why I like extras and background so much. Extras and background,
I didn't have any extras or background.
you didn't. Mine are all dead, but like just in generally in shows, and a lot of times people will kind of poo-poo the background. I'm like, no. There's really very rarely a scene that's as strong if we don't have that happening in the background. But they hold up a film.
For me, I give credit, well, it was a perfect storm, but I give credit to Betsy Palmer, because she brought my game so far up, that I couldn't be anything but good. You know what I mean?
Right.
With someone like her, I would just look at her. You talk about headspace. I don't care. I'd be eating a sandwich and she'd look at me and the hairs would go up, because Betsy and I bonded so well when we met many years before, but Sean purposely, the director, kept us separated because he figured we would bond. And Betsy, even during rehearsals, would not. She said, "I'm not pulling any punches. We're going for it. Down and dirty, baby. And if you want to live, you gotta fight back." And so I tell you, I was blessed, because all the training in the world, if you have a co-star who's not working with you, you're doomed, totally doomed. And then in the last scene, well, not the last scene, the canoe scene where Jason pops up and pulls Alice in the water, that I only had 2 takes on. So that's when the training kicked in, because the first take, I went out of camera range. So they had to drive me off. We had to do it, and so they drive me off. That's when I had to block everything out. I knew how cold that water was already. I couldn't give away that this kid was coming up behind me, and so that's when I knew that all of that other training worked. So I was blessed. It was a perfect storm between the director and the music, and Harry and Tom Savini, my God, we wouldn't have had a film without him. He's the one who really made the magic
I felt
happen.
that with Terry Kaiser. I felt very, very close to Terry Kaiser as soon as I met him all along, and wow, is he fun to work with now too. He's amazing.
But generally speaking, you give 100%, and you do what you have to do.
120.
Yeah, exactly. It helps to be young. But then again, you look at Betsy.
You want to.
Betsy did everything that that fight there was nothing, no stunt people. That was all us.
How old was Betsy during that fight?
You know, I gotta say, I should look it up, but she had to have been at least in her early 50s, I think. So, I mean, good shape. She was in rocking shape. Yeah, she was so much fun too. I mean, I heard she was so much fun because I wasn't allowed to stay out late and smoke
Right.
pot with the crew. That's true.
Stories from the
Oh,
set.
yeah, she, trust me when I tell you, she was the first one to announce it in a Q&A. I'm not telling any secrets here.
Right.
Betsy was down and dirty. And the funniest and wittiest. Her and Harry Manfredini would sit up here and throw barbs at each other like they'd been married for 100 years. Yeah.
Yes.
How did you get involved in the fan films and how do you like doing that stuff?
Amy, answer that one.
I haven't done, I did 1.5, but, yeah.
I'd never heard of them. I'd never heard of them. I didn't even know what it was. I'd never heard of it. And I don't know about you, but I always got a lot of people sending me scripts for what they wanted to do with Tina. And it didn't make any sense. Most of them, blah, blah, blah.
Ditto.
Yeah, they didn't. And then this guy, Per Anthony, he called and I don't know why he answered the phone. I never answered the phone. And I answered the phone and then that's him, he's chatting. And so I had to look him up and check him out. And I called CJ and his wife who had worked with him. And it just kind of grew from there. I didn't even know what a fan film was. I just took it on as a film project. And then I learned as we went through it, that process. And I loved it so much. So much.
So same thing with me. I've been getting all these, scripts forever, and nothing made sense, or it didn't work for me anyway. And I had always believed that Alice, being as, the survivor and final girl, never would have. She would have had post-traumatic shock after part 1, and so in my head, I never saw a script, by the way. So I always believed that it was a post-traumatic stress dream within a nightmare, part 2. And I always expected someone to figure it out, that Alice was still alive, painting in the woods, drinking her fine wine, and laying low. And then, up in Seattle Crypticon, I'm approached by a filmmaker, a young filmmaker, and James Sweet and Vinny DeSanti, Never Hike Alone. I hadn't seen it at the point, and then I looked at it and
I looked at the same, some of that group going together.
And then I read what they had in mind, and I said, this kind of makes sense, it makes a little bit of sense. I said, but you can't raise money on my back, I can't do that. I just can't do it. I said, so here's the deal. I don't want the fans to know I'm involved in this at all, because I want it to be as much a surprise to them that Alice is, because Alice would still be around, as far as I was concerned, but smart about it. So anyway, the script that they came up with finally, I said, there's just, they said, do you think you might be able to get Amy in this film? And it was based in Portland, the filmmakers, and really great filmmakers and great acting people, great actors up there, great community. And so I asked Amy, would you mind doing a little bit? And they came up with a great little idea I thought that Amy was cool with, and she agreed. So it gave a little, as far as the fans, and this is really why I think fan films are so important, especially because we have two grumpy old men that, or maybe one, I don't know who or what, or because I haven't really spoken to either one of them about it, so I'm not going to say any or throw any aspersions whichever way. But I do care for you guys, and I care for the fans, and I care for the series. And we're up to what? Number 13. It's like, couldn't we just get it together? Pull everybody who's still alive ever did a Friday the 13th
Well,
movie.
were you part of, because we had discussions of starting the one just like a year and a half ago, and I think all of our schedules weren't working. Weren't y'all talking to all the same people?
No.
Okay, come on, who am I thinking of?
No,
None of them.
not me. But
come
quite
on.
honestly, I just thought for the fans, we should at least finish on a big note, number 13, if we're going to finish. You know, don't let it just drag out until we're all kind of like feeble, which is getting real close.
Wouldn't it be so good if all the
That's what I
parties-
mean. That's what
they're alive? We
I-
have a little role.
I-
That'd be good. That would be good.
Do you know the part, whatever it is that Derek stars in? What is that?
It's the remake
The
one, so I don't
2009
know.
one? Okay, so those producers came to Betsy and me and asked us, would we do like the first cameos for, you know, the first couple minutes? And we were like, yeah. First of all, you know, residuals would be nice for a change. But beyond that, wouldn't that be great? And we were thinking, Betsy and I were on the phone for like a half an hour going, and you know what, they were really smart? They get all the guys that were Jason's and put them in the background as cops. I went, yeah. And then like, we could have the original diner scene, you know? We're rewriting the script, the two of us. And then they can go do whatever the hell they want to do. But like get everybody in that first scene that's ever been like associated, that's still around. We had a great idea, but we never got a chance to even talk to the producers because a week later, the manager called us and said, they changed their mind. They don't want anybody from the original. We were crushed. We had it all worked out. But yeah,
It's a gold mine. The fans, we are chomping at the bit for more. We will pay anything
It's a
to
lot
get
of
another
work.
one.
I mean, it's an incredible amount of work because they're doing it without any kind of studio backing. And
they're asking.
the Peter Anthony Group has done quite a few projects, and the amount of work he's done. Literally every week, I get a box of items to autograph for the people that were original donors.
Yeah.
He's sending them to me, and it's like $60, $80 every time he ships them to me, and I have to ship them either to Terry or Kevin.
I have the same
And I'm like,
thing with
my
Jason.
gosh, I don't know how he's even keeping track. honestly.
No, seriously, I get these posters from Jason Rising. By the way, just throwing this out there, I'm gonna do a raffle at my table tomorrow for 2 bottles of Crystal Lake wine, as well as a couple of posters for Jason Rising, because I wanna get those, not funny like this, but August 13th is Jason Rising's first anniversary, and I thought, wouldn't it be really cool to show Hollywood that we could get 1 million views without them? And support, because the filmmakers are so passionate about the series, and they do such a good job, and it's like, I'd like them to get some acknowledgement, you know?
And they can't make any money.
No, they can't. They can't even sell anything because they'll be sued. They know that. And they're worried. Obviously not that I'm worried. But you know, at some point somebody could come after them.
Right.
But at the same time, do they want the bad press? I don't think so.
Well, it could get worse. I mean, at Star Trek, they made a bunch of rules for fan films a couple of years ago that would ruin everything. Because you couldn't be in one because you were in a real movie. That's the way Star Trek works now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but they can't go back with us and say what we can't do, except, you know, because it's not in our contracts. But I know what our issues. We really pushed it with Roseblood. We used. He actually went and got all the same set decorations that
We had the original Betsy Palmer head.
Yeah, we had some of that. It was crazy how they got all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's passion, you know, to try to get that.
Who did that head? It wasn't Beagler at that time. It was Tom. I mean, it was Tom then, right?
Our time.
Tom.
And Adrienne, do you still have any paintings left that they sell, or are they?
We have 2 left.
She's selling 2 of her paintings. She did have more. I bought one.
But what we do have is I only have 10 scripts left, but Amy has scripts left too. Do you have scripts?
No, I don't have this.
I got, unfortunately, my archival printer can't get the original paper anymore that made my script feel authentic, exactly like my original. And so what I have left is it. On my website, I think I have 10, and I think we might have 5 here. But Amy, did you bring your scripts?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
Nice, yep.
Yeah. Because those are something that it's fun to see what's in them, but what didn't make it to the screen.
I love
That's the best.
Guys, I've been a script collector since before it was popular to bring them to conventions, probably 15 years before I go into conventions. Mainly, I started off with musicals for theater nerds, so the shows I did, and then shows I wanted to do, because I love those. The shows I'd never seen, but really wanted to see, so I just read it. Or plays, melodramas, like vaudeville stuff. But then, people started selling movie scripts online, and so I was buying those. My shelf was full. And then, people started bringing them to conventions. And Amy's was really nice and down, so I got hers in Chicago, I think?
Yeah.
And I had the whole cast sign it. Cheers. And I'm just so excited that the scripts are now becoming like a thing that people are having at the tables now. Because sometimes there will be like actor notes in it and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and
for sure. Absolutely.
It's so exciting. I even have my original phone number from New York and my address. And it says it fell. Return to Adrienne King 222 West 56th Street. I swear with my original 212 phone number. Oh my God. I know. So cute.
I think my original script was stolen, by whatever. But I still have many, many boxes of scripts to go through, so I keep thinking maybe I'll find another box of them. There's so many.
Do you still have house?
Yes, I have those.
You should bring that one next time. I'll buy
I
it.
should. I need to look
I will buy that.
I need to see how pretty I'll put it together. I'll take a look at it. The Rosebud.
Yeah.
The Rosebud script the director gave us was red. The cover's red. The pages are red. It's a very intense script we did for fans.
Right.
Mine has coffee stains all over.
Of course,
it.
yeah, the original ones do. Yeah. Mine have I have a lot of scripts and acting books that have poodle bites out of the corners all the way around. It's so fun. Yeah.
Okay, question right there.
Yes, I have a question for you. Do you?
What's my name?
Adrienne.
Okay.
You know my name?
No, but
It's
I'm
Todd.
asking you a question.
I'm
Todd with one
assuming
T.
you are totally wrong.
Oh.
How much choreography did it take for you to?
Funny you should ask that.
You
It's
cut
called the Ballet du Machete. How much choreography?
I think that's a good question for everybody.
When you
Y'all have
cut,
time?
I'm very
cut off-
serious.
you cut off.
Yeah, I'm very serious. I found the original notes on 2 pieces of steno paper with the coffee stains. You have to understand, I really didn't think Friday the 13th was going to be finished or get to the screen. So being an artist, I threw everything, I would grab all the continuity Polaroids, anything that was there that I could make a collage out of. I thought, at least that'll be my memory of the time at camp. And so I have the original notes that Sean Cunningham wrote that night, because it took 12 hours from the moment the sun set to the moment the sun rose. We were on that beach, and it was choreographed because we were using real weapons. We were smashed. We had no stunt people. We were really smashing each other's heads and like. I mean, the reason it looks real is because it was. She, like I said, was a method actress. So when you see my head going into sand, it's smashing into the sand. And Sean was afraid we were going to get hurt. We were bloodied and bruised by the time we walked off. But he literally made 13 notes, not 12, not 14. He didn't know this, of course, at the time. Adrienne does this, Betsy does this, Tommy does this, Tasso does this. But he crumpled them up as the sun rose and threw them away, and I went right into the trash and went. And I ended up throwing them into a big box, including my original grandma ring. Everybody heard the story about this is the ring that I wear in part 1 and part 2 and in a fan film named Jason Rising. If you see a ring, I'm not spoiling the movie if you haven't seen it, watch it, you might find a ring. And I taped it up because I didn't need it, obviously, with all this stuff in it, including the script, and those notes were in it. And it was choreographed. When I read them back, I couldn't believe it. It was literally like, so I made a poster that's out of print now, but it was just one for him, for Sean Cunningham, and one for me when I found it, when I moved up to Oregon 17 years ago, if you can believe that. 17 years ago. And I wrote at the top of it, Ballet du Machete. And Sean has it hanging, and it was the only piece of, it's a picture that's me on, like a poster with me and her fighting, and the notes. And he said, oh my God. And I said, do you see how many notes there are? And there were 13. There's no way. There's freaking no way, you know? It's crazy. And so he said, do yourself a favor, make a poster for the fans. They will love this. And I think I'm gonna have to do it again because I ran out of ones. And then, but those 13 notes are so cool because, right on, Todd. It was choreographed because somebody would have seriously gotten hurt. We were that close, you know, using real, yeah.
So you saying like y'all were bruised up as y'all was doing that stuff?
We stumbled off the beach.
So I bet you look like Rocky, didn't
Yo,
How about you guys? How about your choreography for your fights and struggles and chases and chasing?
Well, Steve Dash used to tell great stories about how crappy my timing was. I mean, maybe you guys have heard some of the stories. You know, as an actor, you're supposed to, you know, it's very like in it. And then as a stunt person, you're very into the choreography and the timing. So because they didn't have money for a stunt person, I ended up doing a bunch of stunts. So when it came time for me to, like, let's just say lift that machete, I was supposed to bring it down on the count of 3, and it was 1, 2, and that's when I cut his finger.
Yes.
And then there were times where I'm supposed to wait to the count of 5, let's say, for him to run by me, and then I kick him, and then I keep running. Well, I kick him on 4. Hence the reason why he ended up using a cup halfway through the film. I think he broke some ribs. He used to complain about all this stuff all the time. I said, you're just a
thing.
Yeah. So, but as far as, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of choreography other than just kind of meet the
Because
moment.
you use your brain.
That's right, the brain I used to have, it's no longer here.
Yeah, I think that when you're, you know, you have to get the right moves and time in the rehearsal, the blocking, but it can be really difficult when you're creative to do
The adrenaline comes in.
the adrenaline and then to do that technical thinking. So it just all blends for me. That's why.
Did you do a lot of your stunts, Laura?
You know, I did 2 little stunts that were just silly. Well, Kane was so cool. He let me do this scene where Tina falls through the roof into the basement. It was far enough. I mean, it was a lot of padding. Kane was awesome, or he wouldn't have let me do them. And then I did a fall on the pier, which I really regretted. That was painful, and I had to keep doing it. And it hurts.
You wanted to do it.
I did. And I did
You're
one.
like, nope,
no,
not again.
Not a stunt person. Did one stunt in a TV film, either right before that or after. No, that's not my job. No.
I was always amazed at the stunt people on the set that they could be so level-headed while wearing a wig and while wearing a wig and like somebody else's clothes and having to kind of like keep their face away from the camera, you know, their back. I always envied that they could think like that under those circumstances, but then again, they weren't dealing with kind of the load of adrenaline. They were just dealing with like physics. Right. So, yeah, they were always amazing. So that's another thing about films that Laura was talking about. I mean, stunt people are amazing.
Yeah, they don't get
And I'm
much
not
credit.
talking about Tom Cruise. I am talking about regular, normal films.
I wanted to know, with the, you know, the, 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 the,
group helped me personally in a way I didn't expect it to. People have been asking me to write an autobiography or whatever for 1,000 years, and I've tried, and I just can't go back there. You know, there's after a lot of therapy, very important therapy to get myself back after the stalking and everything. There was no reason for me to reopen all of that. It actually would have been really foolish because every time I tried to, it all whooshed back, you know? So when Grady Hendrix called me, and we had a mutual friend who put us in touch, and we spoke on the film about his book and about part 1 and what happened in part 2. Some stuff he didn't know, but he always wondered, he had said, about what happened to Final Girls afterwards. Which, if you think about it, is what does happen to them? You know, how do they get on with their lives? And I thought to myself, honestly, maybe this will do what I need personally. And I figured it was in my wheelhouse because I've been in the, that's where I went to after the stalker. I went into the recording booth, and that's what I did for my life. You know, voiceovers, looping, and it was the best life. It really was. I still kept my pinky in there, but I never had to wear makeup or do my hair. It was awesome, right? And I felt safe. I felt protected because you have to understand, before social media, you know, and before cell phones, before video, actually, the first couple of years before video, I know that's really weird to think of, but I'm so freaking old. You were all here to witness the birthday. Anyway, I read the book, and I said, he sent it to me in a galley, and I went, whoa, Grady, I really don't know if I can handle this. This is like seriously intense. And it wasn't just, he immortalized Alice in a beautiful way, but it was all these other characters. And I really related to Lynette, the main character, so much because that essentially was my life. I lived in a doorman apartment in a beautiful rent-controlled apartment on 82nd in Madison, overlooking Central Park and the Met, and I hardly left my apartment. I had my dad installed bars on the inside of my door because somehow someone got into my apartment.
You know, I had the intense.
I know you
I think yours was when
Well,
there's
the
different.
difference was, you know, there was a law by then.
No, I had no help from 85 police reports.
Oh, I'm not saying you had help. I'm saying there was a law.
Oh,
There's a
they
big
didn't know about
friggin' difference.
And they didn't know about the law.
No, the cops and the FBI all said, you do a movie like that, what do you expect?
That's the same thing. I was asked what medication I was on. And my stalker shot
That's
at
funny,
me
they
in my
didn't-
house.
they-
Yeah, missed my ear. Just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I don't take it as a, I mean, mine went on 6 years, 2 different homes, you know, just. And
Well, I had two.
I
I had one in the
craziness, right?
80s,
That's
I had one in
I mean,
the
that's
90s,
silly.
but
Serious.
by the 90s, like I said, I had a law. And so I could call the FBI and say, get your butt up here. Whereas in 1980, they went,
Well, that.
deal with it. And of course, back then, my entourage, which was one agent and 2 parents, said, go see a priest, don't tell anyone, they're gonna think you're crazy. Seriously, this is the kind of emotional help at the time. So going back to Final Girl Support Group, I really related to the main character, and when I tell you, it was so wonderful to be able to get to a point to actually read that first chapter without shaking. I felt like I had really finally quelled whatever was left. And then I had fun, because I had to do Southern.
How old were you when you're stalking? Were you
How old was I?
young?
as young as one can be at 24. Yeah, I mean, you know.
I was 40, actually 42 was when it was really starting.
Mm-hmm.
So a little
Yeah,
older.
and then when we sold our house in the 90s, so then I had an avion plane crash 50 yards from my house in Copenhagen in 1990, if you want to look it up. I was the first one on the scene.
My word.
Oh yes, oh yes. So imagine when 2000 hit, I was hiding under the bed, you know. But it was just like I just said it out. So we were selling our house, and all of a sudden pictures were missing.
Right.
It's like I said to the real estate person, "Where are the photos? What photos?" Somebody had found out who was living in the house that was being sold and was in there, but the FBI found the guy at a Howard Johnson's in Westbury, so we were good. And on the mirror were all these photos. Let's move on. It's really deep. But anyway, Final Girl Support Group is fabulous because it's cathartic. And you go through all this holy hell with everyone, and believe me, everyone has their backstory, and it's like there's 6 different women, walks of life, and I'm getting goosebumps right now. By the end of it, I was crying. Everyone I know was crying, but it was so good because we got to move on in the book and as people. And I've had so many people write to me and say how much that book helped them move on and reevaluate their life. You know, what's really important? What do I really need? So thank you. Yeah, it was important.
We
to me.
need dinner.
Dinner.
Move on.
Is it time for dinner? Amy's like, I want to leave.
She's like, I was sitting at the.
Yeah, anybody ever, any more questions or anything like that? 'Cause
See,
then we're gonna be going.
Amy deals with this in real life as a therapist. She has to listen to all of this. She doesn't want to hear it here.
Stand up and talk really loud and make it fast.
This one's a lot more lighthearted. Jason's pretty different in every movie. Do you have a favorite version?
Wait, what?
Which one?
Do you have a favorite version of Jason? He's pretty different in every movie.
Oh.
The little Jason in number 1 is my favorite.
My Jason is my favorite.
Second.
Cheers. Cheers. I want to ask one more wrap-up question for you all because it's got really heavy and really deep. And
Well, it's your fault back there.
Yeah.
You love the book. It's all your fault.
So, you ladies are all wonderful and inspiring.
Thank
Of
you.
course.
Summer, so we
I would love to know personally, what is your
philosophy in life? What do you want to share with us? Final words of inspiration.
drink wine.
Yes.
What's coming up to me right now is just be present and keep moving forward. You know, at the same time, just be present and mindful that, oh my God, we're so here. There's so many brilliant things to see and feel and think and connect and then not cling to the past, not hope for the future, but like if we could just be present, oh my God, we get everything.
There's a great Monet exhibit at the Indianapolis Art Museum. If you haven't seen it, honestly.
I went today.
Did you go today?
Yes. It was amazing.
It
And
was
the gardens.
fabulous.
And the gardens, you love the gardens.
It's so pretty, so that was pretty
But
pleasant.
I have a philosophy that I pretty much continually try to live by and also fight internally, which is stop judging. Stop judging continually. So in acting class and with the actors and yourself, we do not prejudge characters and not prejudge scenes when you first get them so you can develop them and not prejudge people you meet or make those ideas, because it's very hard to constantly, I had an army colonel for a dad, right? So perfection and all of that is in my DNA. And it's so important that to really understand we don't know what someone else's life has been when you're talking with them or what their story is or where they're going, and we can make judgments so quickly that take us down a different path of how we get to know someone or know a situation. that's kind of something that has always been in my mind, not judge. Try so hard. Of course we will, but to be aware of it. You're aware of the moment. You were talking about being aware of the moment. That's kind of the thing I try to be aware of.
Well, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you. And don't forget to hug my kidlet. And throw your name in the ice bucket and be present at 6 p.m. And Amy's going to pull some names out of the bucket.
That's right, I'm gonna pull yours.
Thank you guys. Have a good night and a good dinner.
Oh, sure.